Warning, the following show will spoil the hell out of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire books and the TV show A Game of Thrones. Also, you're probably going to find a fuck ton of bad language. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
Death and boobies, 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 death and boobies.
Hello and welcome back to the Ironwood Network Book Club. I'm your host, Septa Ironwood, and with me, as always, is Maester Ironwood. How are you tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Good.
We've made it back to Essos.
We have.
But not with Daenerys this time.
No. We are in the northern part of Essos.
The northern quadrant
Yep.
of Essos. The British Isles, as it were.
Yes.
Foggy little islands in the middle of the sea.
It's like Venice.
No.
Well, that was the descriptive part that seemed familiar to me.
So the waterways are like Venice.
Yes.
The climate is more like Britain.
Right, yes.
Foggy and cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right, yeah. So we are doing Arya 1
Yep.
of A Feast for Crows. I like this chapter. A lot of cool information
Oh, do we?
about Bravos and things like that. So,
Right.
lots of cool stuff, I think. You don't think so?
To me, I didn't catch a lot of the little details like
Okay.
you have, I'm sure.
Right.
So, because to me, not a lot happened in this chapter.
Well, not a lot happened, no. It's a lot of information
Right.
that came, not like action-y things
Right.
going on. All right. So before I give us a synopsis, I do have a haiku.
Yep.
Welcome to Bravos, and please remember my name, scary little girl.
Scary little girl. Oh, yeah, the waif.
Oh,
Arya. Why is she scared?
Some of the people on the people on the ship are scared of her. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
They're terrified of her.
I don't know why. Other than she had the coin.
Other than the fact that the ancient guild of assassins.
Okay.
Like, imagine if you met the dude from Assassin's Creed. I'd be a little terrified.
I guess.
I don't know.
The guy with the hood up that does parkour?
Yeah, I guess he does parkour.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
He doesn't do much flipping. I don't know about I haven't played any of the news, so I don't know.
To me, that's just from, like, the commercials and stuff that I used to see. That's just what came to my mind.
Yeah.
So he's always just been the guy with the hood doing parkour.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd be scared to meet him. He'd be like, don't kill me.
All right.
So
That's right. He's an assassin.
Yeah, he's an assassin. Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Yep.
All right. So, synopsis. Arya, on the ship the Maiden of Bravos, arrives in Bravos, is escorted to the House of Black and White by the son of the ship's captain.
Yep.
And then she goes inside, watches a man die, meets the friendly man.
Did he die, though?
The kindly man. Well, he went to die. He drank black water to die of wounds.
Mm-hmm. I guess.
And then she meets the and the kindly.
And tries to eat his worm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're talking about his fate, because we're going to see him in the next book.
Okay.
His terrifying.
Okay.
We'll get to all that.
All right.
All right. So, kick us off, Septa. Let's get this chapter started. Arya is at sea.
Yep. And she sees a light in the distance. She thinks it's a star, but really it's a fire.
Yep, the star of home.
Yep.
The home star.
What the captain's
Homestar
son.
Runner. Only my old school internet people don't know a Homestar Runner.
No idea.
Just look it up on YouTube sometime.
She thought it was a star, but the captain's youngest son said it's the star of home. It's actually two fires.
Deos, right, is his name?
Something like that.
Yeah, Deos, I think. Yeah, it's one of the eyes of the Titan of Bravos.
Well, actually, it's both eyes. But
True.
because it's so far away,
Right,
it
true.
looks like one.
Right.
And then as they get closer, it turns into two fires.
He's a Cyclops for a while.
Yeah.
So I love the Titan of Bravos. It's based in real-world mythology.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to explain it.
One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, Colossus of Rhodes.
Oh.
Which was a giant statue that stood in front of the harbor roads.
Okay. R-H-O-D-E-S.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, the Titan, yep, Colossus. It's one of the wonders.
Okay. It's not there anymore? What is there? Like, are the feet left or something? It's just not there at all.
Uh-huh. It's been thousands.
Okay. So It just
gone. Yeah.
fell over. So how do we know it was there?
From writings
Okay.
from the time.
Okay.
I was describing it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was there and gone before.
Well, yeah. I mean, so many things are.
Right. But a statue of that magnitude?
I mean, there's things on Amazon that
Right.
disappear. Thousands.
Right. That's true.
Whole continent is somewhere that's sank.
A lot of land sank into the ocean when Pangea broke apart.
Well, not just that, but Atlantis did. I mean, there's a whole continent of land because it's covered 2 miles of ice.
That's true.
And the cool shit that's down there.
Alien versus Predator.
That
No
would
thanks.
Be terrifying.
No thanks.
That would be terrifying. Yeah.
And not to mention whatever microorganisms are living in the ice. So,
Oh yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie? 7 scientists went to, they were searching the ice and one of the ice tubes melted and it affected everyone and the dog. I can't remember what movie it was.
I remember. I know that that's the Last Ship TV show.
No, I think it was a movie. I don't think it was The Last Ship.
Oh, because that was the Last Ship. That Arctic ice, or we can't remember which one. It was either Arctic or Antarctic ice melted. At least some virus that humans hadn't built up, and it was thousands.
I thought The Last Ship the disease was man-made because the one guy infected his wife first.
With a virus that was found, an ancient virus.
Right, but the one I'm thinking, and we've digressed so far, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I've seen a lot of movies. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think only like 1 or 2 people make it out of there alive because they're stuck there because of a snowstorm or something.
Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, sound the mountains of madness.
Nope.
All right. Well, anyway.
I'll have to look it up.
Anyway, back to Bravos.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of information on Arya's trip, her voyage. One thing to note is her description of how the people treat her.
And they call her Salty.
They call her salty because they picked her up at salt pans.
Yep.
She says that some of the people just shun her, and the others who don't are constantly telling her their names, offering her gifts, making sure that she remembers them.
So that she doesn't kill him later.
Right, so the faceless men have a rule. They never kill somebody that they know. So they're all making sure that Arya knows them. Hence, when Deos drops her off at the temple...
Deos' older brother.
Oh, that's right. The brother drops her off at the House of Black and White. The last thing he says to her is, "You remember my name?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Of course I do," and says his name, and then he just rows away.
Yep.
So that way he won't be killed by her.
Yes.
Yeah. So...
That's a very valid point. I didn't catch that. I was trying to figure out why they were all trying to get her to remember their names, but that's a very good point.
That's why. So that way... Yep.
Superstitious much?
It's not superstition. Like, that's a legit
Well,
rule
that's
for the
true,
faceless
but
men.
she's
It's
not
just
a
the way to
faceless...
protect
Yeah,
yourself.
but she's not a faceless man.
But as far as they know, she is.
Right.
Or a trainee or something.
Right.
She has the coin she knows. I mean, as soon as she showed that coin, she got every accommodation she wanted on that ship.
Yes, that is true.
Free voyage to Bravos.
Yep.
So.
She's a very young assassin, they think.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, there are theories out there that, for instance, like Missandei, who is like 13 in the books, that she's actually much older and just pretends to be a 13-year-old girl to be unassuming.
Oh.
Yeah. So she could just look young, you know what I mean?
Right.
She could be older and just
Oh,
look
because
young.
she's a faceless man, they can look as young as they want.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think Missandei's
There's a theory out there that she is.
interesting.
She's very wise for a 13-year-old.
And knowledgeable.
For a 13-year-old. Speaks a lot of language, knows a lot of things. For someone who's
Well,
13.
when you're a child slave to someone of that importance, you're around multiple languages, so you could probably learn them. Especially if you're
she's
going to be the translator.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, the languages I get, but she's very knowledgeable about customs and lots of things. Which is why one of the things people say about why she might... She has a lot of information
Valid point.
for somebody who's 13.
Valid point.
Especially a slave, right? I mean...
Right.
So, but who knows?
Right.
I certainly don't know whether it's true or not.
I mean, it's a valid suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So then we arrive in Bravos through the legs of the Titan.
Yep. And this thing is massive. It makes me think of the statues in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Massive.
Yes.
And there's...
Long gaze upon those.
Yeah.
Yes. Others.
Yeah. What are those slits called? Where you can shoot arrows out of. I can't remember what they are, but the statue's full of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a guard tower as well.
Yeah, because it's like one of the only ways into Bravos.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much the only way.
Right.
Without seeing the eyes, right? I mean, the whole thing is surrounded by fog.
Yes.
It's like you don't even know it's there, and like know it's there.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of their thing, right? I mean, that's how they stay.
Tortuga.
That's how they kind of stay protected.
Right. Yeah.
Is that it's a very unassuming place.
Yeah.
Like it's just fog everywhere.
Right.
You would never guess that there's a city inside there.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And yet there is. We learn interesting things about Bravos. At least things that I find interesting about Bravos. For instance, all gods are welcome.
Yep.
So we have a red temple.
A white temple.
The big white temple of the Moon Singers, who first brought the people to Bravos.
So they were Valyrian. Or not Valyrian, but of the same descent.
What were they?
Well, didn't you say that when the people left... I can't remember.
The Great Empire of the Dawn.
Yeah. Some people went to Bravos, some people went to Valyria. Isn't that what you said?
Dorne.
Oh.
The
okay.
Danes.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. We only know of... So I've heard interesting theories about them.
Okay.
And I don't know what, because we only really know one group that is called the Singers in any way.
Who are they?
The Singers?
No.
The Children of the Forest?
Oh.
They're called the Singers?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Who calls them singers?
Everybody.
Never seen the reference in the book. Then I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if...
It's related.
Maybe like it's a sect of Children of the Forest from Essos. I mean, it stands to reason that considering that both continents were connected at one point, that there would be all sorts of people on both sides.
Right.
So, wouldn't surprise me if there were Children of the Forest over there. But either way, it's the largest and most pristine temple in the city.
Yeah, it's white marble.
Yeah, huge white marble with a huge domed roof.
Yeah. With all the phases of the moon in each pane of glass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of panes of glass in the top of the dome.
Yes. A lot of panes of glass.
Yeah.
Very intricate work.
Yes.
So whoever the Moon Singers were/are, they were very important because Bravo spared no expense
Right.
in their temple.
Right. Then there's the big red temple
Yep.
right next to it.
Yep. For R'hllor.
Yep. With their fires always burning.
Mm-hmm. Their night fires.
And they also have a temple for all the gods that have been forgotten.
Yes, the forgotten gods.
Yeah. She never does ask if there's one for the old gods of the north.
And she has a good reason for that.
Because she doesn't want them to know who she really is.
Right. So, because she says, what would a poor girl from the Salt Pans know about the old gods of the north?
And it is a very valid question. However, she's from Westeros, so she knows the gods of Westeros, even if it's just in stories or being told that, the people of the north worship the old gods.
I would gather that if you were from the south, Westeros,
Right.
that if you were a child her age, you probably know nothing about the old gods of...
Quite possibly, yeah.
Especially if you're not highborn. Like a highborn child, sure. Maybe. Right. But just like some common girl,
no.
I don't think you'd have any idea. You'd know the 7 and that's it, pretty much.
Very valid point.
So the last place that is where we're headed for our story.
Yes.
And that is the House of Black and White.
Now, to get there, she doesn't get off at the dock with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
The captain's oldest son gets a little boat off...
A dinghy.
Yeah, off the side.
Yeah, rowboat.
And she climbs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they take a side trip.
Yes.
So she doesn't go to port. Kind of like not giving over your passport.
Yeah, she bypassed customs.
Yeah.
Yep. Because she has the hall pass.
Yeah.
The coin, the iron coin.
She does.
It gets just like being a billionaire and not having to go through customs.
Yeah.
Just pass right on through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like under like 6 bridges.
Yep.
To the right. She gets off for the House of Black and White.
Yep, and he takes her right there.
Yep. And it's a nice big stone building.
Mm-hmm.
And the doors are interesting. We've seen similar doors before.
We have in King's Landing of all places.
The House of Tobo Mott.
Yes.
So we have a white door with a black circle.
And a black door with a white circle.
Correct.
Very yin-yang.
A yin-yang. Yes, indeed.
And she says the doors look very familiar to her.
Mm-hmm.
And almost as if the weirwood can see her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of weird.
Right.
Like, why would a door be able to see you?
Well,
I mean, it's not like it has a peephole in it.
No, but I mean, it's a weirwood.
Right.
Like, look at the black gate.
Right. But that had a face on it. This door doesn't. Not that she points out.
It just has the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is an interesting tie-in. Moon singers.
Mm-hmm.
Doors have moon.
Right.
Which is it. So we've got a weirwood door, and I'm assuming an ironwood.
It's ebony, so...
Right, black wood.
Yeah.
So in our story, there's 2 trees.
Yep.
The white tree with red leaves, black tree with blue leaves.
Right.
So I'm going to assume that the other door is ironwood.
Right. So she tries to push the door open and it doesn't budge.
Yeah.
So she immediately starts yelling it. And then she's like, look, I even brought the coin. And then she says the words. And I always screw up the words.
Valar Morghulis.
Valar Morghulis. And then,
All
poof,
men must die.
the door's open. She did learn that that's what that meant on her
And
trip
a few
over
other
here.
words.
Yep.
Now, what do you think the doors mean? Just thematic.
You
pointed
can't,
out that
you
they're
can't have
yin-yang.
light without darkness. You can't have darkness without light.
Right. See, a lot of the story is about duality.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You've got the ice god and the fire god.
Mm-hmm.
You've got black door and the white door.
Mm-hmm. Well, you wouldn't know darkness if you didn't know light. And you
Mhm.
wouldn't know light if you didn't know darkness.
Yeah, correct.
So you've got to have one to have the other.
Mm-hmm. So you think it means good things are inside or bad things?
Or both.
Or both.
Because you can't have good without the bad.
Or maybe it depends on how you look at it.
That too.
So the door opens, but nobody's there to open it.
Nope. She said the magic words.
So she walks in, and the door closes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the second weirwood door that we know that opens by itself
With the magic
when you
words.
say the magic words.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Which lets me believe that this door might still be partially alive, and then therefore might actually have been looking at her.
Now, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's like the actual building there, or that's kind of like a portal door?
So I go back and forth on those, right? So we talked about that with Veerwood under the wall.
Yes, we did.
Is it like a passageway into like another world?
Right.
Sort of in a way. And I think that that's entirely possible, especially with what happens to Arya when she gets inside.
Right, and it seems bigger on the inside.
Definitely is very huge.
Mhm.
Definitely is TARDIS-like on the
Yes.
inside, which is fascinating.
Yes.
Just from what we can see, it looks like it should be much larger outside than
Yeah.
it actually.
Because she can see on forever
Yes.
down the hall after her eyes adjust because there's no light except for very few candles.
Yep.
She can hear movement and people.
She can hear
and-
water.
but
So she walks in, and the first thing she notes
she's pulled out a needle and doesn't
but
remember.
She doesn't remember doing it.
Yes.
And all I can think of is the silence from Doctor Who, where like when you look away, you don't see them,
You forget they're
and then
there.
they look at their hand like, "Why am I carrying a
Yeah.
weapon?" And like I just think of that, like, "Why do I have my gun out?" Why?
Yeah.
And like so, it just like popped into my head when I read that line.
Yeah.
I just think of the silence.
Yeah, this episode's very Doctor Who.
Yeah, you got a TARDIS with the silence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she hears the running water. She hears the people. She starts to be able to see, and then she starts getting smells,
Yes.
and they're things that are familiar to her.
Yes.
Which is
First,
weird.
it was strange because it was a smell she'd never smelled before.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, they turn to all the comforting smells that she's used
Pine
to.
needles, dirt,
And soup. Stew.
things that smell of home.
Yes.
And as she's smelling it and it's becoming more familiar, she feels braver.
Yes.
So as she wanders in, she
Puts
puts away needle and continues on
Mhm.
into this place. And she sees a man and offers him a cup of pitch black water from a large pitch black
Well,
pool
she
on
saw
the
him
floor.
sitting there, and he put his hands in it, and he's licking the water off his.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, this bowl appears next to her
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't see it or he didn't pick it up. So she picks it up and offers him the water and says, "Valar Morghulis, and he drinks the water.
Mm-hmm.
And the water is black.
It's the black water.
Yes, I fully believe it is the actual black water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just black because there's no light involved.
Right.
I believe that.
Because there is light, because you can see red rippling off the...
Yes.
Which, what does that remind you? On a dark
the
surface.
dark gray steel with the blood in it.
Mm.
In
Oathkeeper.
Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A bit of symbolism there, I think.
Yep, because when it ripples,
Yeah.
the ripples appear a bit red.
Yes, let's talk about this black water again, because
Okay.
now we've come across it again.
Yes.
So we know, so far in our story, we have the black water pool in Winterfell,
And the womb of the earth.
which we haven't got verified that it's the black water.
But we believe it's...
I am 99% convinced that that is a black water lake.
Yes.
We have the black water near a shy,
Yes.
and then we get this
Yes.
here, the black water pool in the House of Black and White.
Yes.
That supposedly, apparently, it would seem to me might be, so we know that this water has weird properties.
Yes.
It seems that by the reaction of this guy after drinking, it seems to me that this water is the source of the smell that is comforting Arya and the
Not
people who are coming in.
Not the incense that is burning.
It could be both, but because remember, he's sitting there unsure of what to do. He looks scared. He's tepidly tasting the water. Mm-hmm. And then when she offers him the cup, he drinks the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's as if he's calmed and ready to die. He gets up and
He
one of the
stands
stone
up and she
beds.
notices he's bleeding.
He's been stabbed.
Yes. And
But he just over and lays down to die.
Yeah. And then Arya looks around and sees all these other people sleeping in these tombs, and then she realized they're not sleeping, they're dead.
Yep, they're not sleeping, they're dead. So this water seems to have the same effect on people, aside from killing them. Or, I don't know if it actually kills them.
Or it just gives them what they want.
Right. Gives them the strength, I guess.
Yeah.
The strength to die.
Yeah.
To be calm
The
in
courage
the face of
or
death.
whatever. Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's the incense, or if it's the water, or a combination thereof.
Right.
But everything in here seems to be designed to keep people calm and to get right. So the idea is that they come in to make the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So what do you need in order to do that? You need to be calm, right? You can't like freak out. You're gonna run back out the door. Nobody's gonna want to do it. So you need to calm them down.
Right.
So it seems like everything in here is designed to do that.
And then all of a sudden, someone grabs Arya's arm, not forcefully or anything, just like puts a hand on her, and Arya like freaks out.
Yep. Turns around.
It's a little girl wearing a half black, half white robe, and
The hood up over her face.
yeah, Arya starts yelling at her, saying, "I killed the last boy who touched me."
Which is true.
And she calls her a waif. Now, I know that's what they called her in the TV show, even though the waif in the TV show is much older and not wearing this outfit.
Well, everybody in the TV show's older.
What's a waif? I don't have mine. Mine's on the charger.
Just to make sure I tell you the exact
WAIF.
Yeah. Verified right for. So there's two options.
Okay.
A homeless, neglected, or abandoned person, a child,
Okay.
or a young person who is thin and looks unhealthy or unfor.
Could be both.
Right. Yep.
But in a place like this, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more the first one than the last one.
Right, yeah.
Because they don't want their followers to be sickly.
Correct.
So.
And so she is followed by a much taller man wearing the same thing.
Yep.
And he talks to Arya. And they have an interesting conversation. This guy is strange.
He knows more about her than he should.
Right, so he asked her who she is.
I'm salty.
Yep, she goes through every name that she's used.
Yes. And she gets to Arya and he says, "Close, but you're not quite there."
Yeah, she tells him.
Arya of House Stark, and he says, "You don't belong here."
Yeah, this is no place for Arya of House Stark. So here's what obviously we know that this is the we know she's going to train here.
Right.
Being told there's no place.
Right. Because she's...
I think of John, the Crips, telling him, "You don't belong here."
Right.
And yet he does.
Right.
And it's almost as if, so it's almost as if Arya has to prove to herself
right.
that she does belong here. And this is what she should be. And I wonder if that's the same for John, as like some trials that he has to go to prove that he does belong there and that is.
Quite possibly. Especially if it's where they want to be.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
So that would definitely make sense. So she's like, but I have the coin.
Yep.
And drags it out again.
Jackin told me to come.
I don't know anyone by that name.
No idea who Jackin is.
No one goes by names here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. And he asks her if she's afraid to die.
Or are you afraid of death?
Right.
Because of death means it could be your death, it could be someone else's death.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And she says no.
And he says, prove it.
To which he rips off his hood and reveals what?
It's a yellowing skull with some skin falling off it and a worm in his eye.
White worm coming out of the eye.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then he says, kiss me.
Yep.
Which...
So, again, right? So, normally you'd think, oh, there's no way she's...
Yeah, that's creepy. Why would you kiss it?
But remember, she's been calmed.
Right.
And given courage by whatever's in the air.
Yeah. So she kisses it where the nose should be.
Yep.
And then she plucks his worm out of his eye.
And tries to eat it.
Yeah, but then it turns to shadow in her hand.
It vanishes.
But the way he worded it caught my eye.
Okay.
Because I think she said it tasted like a shadow or something like that.
Let's get the exact words.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like on the last page or something.
Arya kissed him where his nose should be and plucked the grave worm from his eye to eat it, but it melted like a shadow in her hand.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? So we've got, again...
Shadows are relatively gray.
Well, not even that,
but there shouldn't be enough light in there for it to turn into a shadow either.
The other thing is... what catches my eye on this is George's description of how it vanishes. Melts.
Right.
Remember the prologue of the first were described as shadows?
Yeah.
Icy. They melt.
They melt. Interesting.
So I wonder if this is a tie-in between the faceless men and...
Maybe.
They both seem to want to kill people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I just think that's
And then his face also melts away.
Yep.
And turns into like a simple face.
And he tells her that nobody's ever tried to eat the worm before and asks her if she's hungry.
And she says, yes, but not for food.
Yeah. So what do you think of this guy's face?
It's plain.
No. His first face.
Oh, the skull?
Yeah.
Meant to intimidate her? See if she's going to be scared?
Okay.
It's just a yellow skull with some skin on it.
Worm in the eye socket.
Yeah.
I can tell you that we will see this face again.
Okay.
But not here.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet in my readings.
It'll be in the next book. Bran. We'll see it.
Okay.
The face is Bloodraven's face. When Bran gets to Bloodraven, he's basically a skeletal body. Fused with the weirwood, the skin falling off of his skull, and a piece of white weirwood poking out of his eye.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. So this guy's face is exactly the same as Bloodraven, who's all in the north in a cave for the last 100 or so years.
Huh. That's weird. That's really weird.
And this place is like, right, when you think about it.
This place is almost cave-like with your wood properties.
Yes, I mean, there's,
It's also got the black water.
There's the faces and the bodies aligning the walls. There's the black water in the pool.
Yep.
It goes on and on and on and on and on. You'll notice some similarities when we get to Bloodraven's cave with Bran. In the next book, it's similarities.
All right.
I like this. Like I said, lots of information. Not a whole lot going on, but a lot of cool information.
Yeah.
All right. I think, do we have anything else we need to talk about?
No, I think that's it.
We do need a title where you fall asleep.
Sorry.
So I had one option for a title.
What's that?
I had to go back to my tequila drinking days. Eat the Worm.
I like it.
All right, we'll go with Eat the Worm.
Yeah, although I'd never...
It's, so in some tequila bottles, there's a little worm in the bottom of them.
Uh-huh.
So tequila.
Why?
Google it. Why some has worms in it.
Did you ever eat that worm?
Nope. I have never.
I'd be surprised if you did.
I used to have a Mexican jumping worm. They come in a bean inside.
Yes, I've seen the Mexican jumping beans.
Yeah, it has a little worm in it to jump.
I actually did see a video where someone broke open let the worm out.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. I think those are the worms, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah. All right. So, we're going to call this one Eat the Worm.
Yep.
Just because why not?
Yeah.
Kind of fitting. All right. Let's thank all the listeners.
Yes, thank you guys. I'm sorry my medication makes me yawn more than normal.
Yep. So thank you, listeners. Thank you, patrons.
Yes, thank you
You
guys.
guys rock. If you want to learn how to support the show, you can do it through Patreon, patreon.com/ironwood. It's $1 a month, or leave us a rating and a review wherever you subscribe to the podcast. That super helps people find the show.
Yes, it
or
does.
give us a subscribe on our Facebook channel. We'd appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other than that, for anything else, you can check out the website. It has everything to do to contact us, how to subscribe to the show, back episodes, all the good stuff. That's at isoplayerpod.com.
Yep.
We will catch you on Friday in Cersei 2.
Yep.
So until then, goodbye, guys.
Bye.